Well, it's time once again to go out to the left coast of the United States and talk to and check in with our very own Michael Snyder and his Culture Blast report. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Alex, and it's a big deal here in the West Coast. It's Oscar weekend, and we're all pretty jazzed. Well, everybody but me. I really, I'm not a big fan of these award ceremonies in the arts, but I'll be watching on Sunday because of peer pressure. That's the way these bastards are. But there are new movies opening this weekend, and for better or worse, and none of them are Oscar-worthy, in two cases because they're not all that good, and in the third case, well, for some reason, a really terrific film was not nominated. Let's get to it with Death Wish. If you go to see the new remake of the 1974 Charles Bronson revenge thriller Death Wish, you won't necessarily wish you were dead, but you will most probably wish you were elsewhere. Bruce Willis is in the lead here, and he's in squint and mutter mode as the star and so-called anti-hero in the 21st century model of Death Wish. When it comes to squint and mutter, Bruce is not Clint Eastwood, who has mastered squinting and muttering his way through a role, and people love him. And, what do we want from Bruce? We want action and quips and such. But that's not what's happening in Death Wish. Here, the main character is Dr. Paul Kersey, highly respected and able surgeon. Well, that just screams a Bruce Willis part, doesn't it? Anyway, this guy's wife and daughter are victimized by a crew of scumbag home invaders. And as the cops fail to corral the criminals, the grieving Dr. Kersey decides to take matters into his own hands. Vigilante justice, everybody. He wants to get the bastards who ruined his happy home life, regardless of what he has to do to achieve this grisly end. By the way, you have to take it on faith that Kersey is grieving, because Willis's face doesn't really show difference from grief to joy to fear to horror to anger. I'm not going to say that he phoned it in. Maybe he emailed it in. But in any case, the script is by a guy I respect, a writer-director named Joe Carnahan, who has made 3 movies I like very much, but he's both directed and written them: Narc, Smokin' Aces, and The Gray, which was one of the earliest of the Liam Neeson as action hero movies. But he goes full Hollywood formula with plot beats you can kind of see coming from decades away, and things that happen that are far less startling and disturbing than those in the original movie. This very conventional nature undermines the director's typically able way with gory violence, the director being Eli Roth. This is the guy who made his reputation with the effective low-budget Euro slasher horror movie Hostel. And when it comes to his filmography, I prefer a previous movie he made to this one, his Spring Breakers versus Jungle Cannibals film, The Green Inferno. And this, by comparison, is a rather drab exercise in repurposing a classic action movie with the addition of an action star who's coasting, that being Willis. And, I guess Roth wanted to make something more mainstream and get out of that whole horror genre trap, but this just is not the movie that it should be. Death Wish maybe shouldn't have been made. Maybe they should have left well enough alone. Let dead dogs lie, maybe? I don't know. Moving on, Red Sparrow is our next film on the agenda, and there were movie business observers and fans who thought that the new Jennifer Lawrence vehicle, Red Sparrow, was beating Marvel Studio in the race to make a movie specifically about a world-class Russian female spy with a background in ballet. Since Marvel has failed to develop and release anything focused on their already established Black Widow character, who is in fact a world-class Russian female spy with a background in ballet, Marvel doesn't have to worry, because Red Sparrow is no Black Widow. In fact, it's not Atomic Blonde, a woman-centered spy movie action film that is way more fun than this. And it's not a good serious movie like Bourne Identity or Casino Royale or The Spy Who Came in from the Cold. Lawrence plays Dominica, whose ballet career is destroyed by injury. So her uncle, a creepy official in the KGB, recruits her with the promise that in return, he'll assure that she and her ill mother will be cared for by the state. Is it still the KGB? I think it has a different name now, but whatever the modern version of the KGB is, the Russian Secret Service. All I can say is, ballet scenes aside, it's too bad that it didn't work, because there were bits and pieces I liked, but mostly they were provided by the cast. Jeremy Irons plays a Russian spy master, and Matthias Schoenaerts is Uncle Ivan. And they're pretty good. And in fact, other supporting roles are taken by artful actors like Charlotte Rampling, who plays kind of the teacher at spy school, who's kind of monstrous. Mary Louise Parker is an American who may or may not provide the Russians with some secret intel. Jolie Richardson as Dominika's sick mom, and Kieran Hines as another Russian official. It's weird. Lawrence has no chemistry with Joel Edgerton, who plays the American secret agent providing an adversarial romantic interest here. I mean, he's the co-star, but he's hardly there. And she, on the other hand, her Russian accent sounds like she picked it up from Natasha on Rocky and Bullwinkle, the cartoon show. Get secret formula from Moose. I mean, I don't want to put this in an ugly way, but this bird fails to fly. Red Sparrow laid an egg. They should have hatched up a better movie. And actually, I can give you a better movie than those two, and that's a film called Foxtrot, which surprised me because it really should have been among the Academy Award nominees for Best Foreign Film in my mind. It was Israel's entry into this year's Academy Awards, and somehow it didn't make the cut. And I thought it was one of the best movies I've seen in the past 6 months, a tale of anguish and loss with an anti-war message from one of the most hawkish countries in the world. Essentially, an Israeli couple with a son in the military experiences one of the worst possible thing that parents can ever have happen. A couple of army officials knock on their door, and you know what that means. The couple, Michael and Daphne, are totally devastated when these guys show up to announce the death of their son, and they are so freaked out that the wife needs to be sedated. They have to give her tranquilizers, and meanwhile, the father, Michael, gets angrier and angrier till he decides to find out what happened, because no one will tell him, and there's no body. So he basically goes out and begins canvassing the fringes of the war zone and asking people what happened. And it's unbelievably powerful. And it is also pretty much a criticism of the army, of the military. And I can only say that I was left kind of shaken by the film and also moved. Samuel Maoz is the writer-director. Lior Ashkenazi plays the dad. Sarah Adler plays the mom. Kudos to everybody. And again, I'm shocked it didn't get a nomination for Best Foreign Film. What do you got going on, buddy?
Well, nothing actually of any note, except that film you said I should watch, Mute on Netflix.
Yeah, the Duncan Jones film.
Yeah. Avoid it.
Wow, I still have yet to watch it, and I thought, I loved Moon.
It keeps trying to be something, and it never quite is. And it has a poignant ending, but it's too late too late in the film to make the whole film worth watching.
It's very disappointing because Duncan Jones, who by the way is the son of the late David Bowie, for better or worse, a legacy kid, made Moon with Sam Rockwell, a nominee for Best Supporting Actor this year, and I loved that film about a man.
It was a very good film.
Solitary.
Very good film. Very good film.
Right. And so I thought, this is incredibly promising. Yeah. And then he turned around and made like a terrible adaptation of the video game Warcraft. And I was like, and then a very confusing film with Jake Gyllenhaal called Source Code. And now this.
Wow. Well, anyway, I guess you want to talk about the Oscars.
Well, we could. Look. I'm not crazy about this whole idea of pitting artists against one another in some kind of popularity test. But, it'll be interesting to see how things play out, particularly considering my affection for a number of the films, because it was a very good year in movies as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to win for Best Picture?
I hope and think that The Shape of Water will actually beat Three Billboards, which is my other kind of likely winner. Although, you never know.
The Shape of Water is a beautiful movie. Just a beautiful movie.
I think you said in the past that it was firing on all cylinders, every possible aspect.
Every aspect. I mean, when you're going to talk about Best Picture, we're not just talking about who did the best acting or what had the best script. Those nominations have already been given out earlier in the evening. You're talking about, in totality, using all the arts and crafts of making a movie, which one best exemplifies the best of all those things, and that picture can't be touched.
I'm hoping that it does. There's no way something like The Post.
There's a prediction out there, which I may go along with, actually, that the winner is going to be, surprise, surprise, Get Out.
You mean like the way Moonlight kind of trumped everything last year?
Because the way in which the Oscars are, the Best Picture is voted on, is unique in that people vote for all of them, but in descending order of their popularity. And maybe they'll give billboards first and second to somebody else, like Get Out, blah, 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 and then they add all those up, and the one who has the most points is the winner. So pictures can easily cancel themselves out. So,
I know. I'm just thinking of something. So if everybody has some kind of tribute to this remarkable rise of this first-time director with an African-American theme, put it in the middle of the pack, and everybody puts it in the middle or toward the top, it can possibly accumulate enough points.
Well, I remember once I was a judge at the comedy competition, and the winner was Warren Thomas. But neither night, it was 2 nights, and then they averaged out the 2 nights. And he didn't win either night. But one person won one night, one person won the other night. He won middle spot both nights, so he came out first. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting thing to see what happens. And I guess in terms of the hottest competition among the actors, I think is probably McDormand and Saoirse Ronan, Frances McDormand from 3 Billboards, Saoirse Ronan from Lady Bird, and Sally Hawkins from Shape of Water. What do you think about that?
Well, Sally Hawkins to me was the best because she did the whole thing mute. But to most people, they'd say she didn't have any lines to memorize. Right. So, I mean, I think it's probably going to go to Frances McDormand playing Frances McDormand rather than Saoirse Ronan playing a girl that she isn't,
Right. Or Sally Hawkins giving the most emotive performance with just her face and gestures. What a triumph that was.
By the way, do you know where Saoirse Ronan was born?
I think she actually has American.
She was born in the Bronx and then raised in Ireland.
So it's interesting to identify her as an Irish actress, and not such a stretch for her to have played the character she played in Brooklyn, who comes to the U.S., but she comes as an Irish girl. So that's amazing. So does she have American citizenship, I wonder?
Well, I'm sure she does. She's a naturalized citizen. She was born here.
Wow. That's kind of
cool. In fact, I heard Jimmy Kimmel was interviewing her, and he said, well, I guess you're from Ireland, so you can't vote for president or anything like that. And she just kind of, I don't know, she didn't say yes or no. But if he knew her history, he'd know she's a naturalized American and she can vote.
Well, I'll tell you what, she's a terrific actor, and she's going to continue doing great stuff, I can tell.
Here's a picture we watched that I don't know how it was avoided at Oscar time, and it's probably because at Oscar time there's a lot of it's almost like running for president. They put ads in the papers and they go around talking to people. Harvey Weinstein was the god of this. He could get an Oscar because he knew how to play the game, and it's all politicking. And we saw a movie and said, in a perfect world, this thing would be nominated. And that was Marshall.
Oh, the Thurgood Marshall docudrama.
We watched it, and after we were finished watching it, we looked at each other and said, that's one of the best pictures of the last year.
It was really a wonderful film.
You got Black Panther's Thurgood Marshall, Chadwick Boseman, and you got a cat. Sterling K. Brown is in it. Who else?
From This Is Us and many other things.
And winning every award that comes along. And you also had, let me see here, you had Josh Gad, who was terrific in this picture.
Yeah, one of his better performances as the attorney that works with Thurgood Marshall on this case.
And the prosecutor, the bad prosecutor, was Dan Stevens from Downton Abbey.
And Legion, which is coming back with another series of episodes.
Yeah. But he was, this was a terrific movie and completely forgotten. Nobody even nominated anybody from it or screenplay or anything. And if you go watch it, folks, this is a great film. You'll sit after it's over, you'll say, "How did I miss this one?"
And it did come out late enough in the year that it shouldn't have fallen through the cracks. It opened in October of last year.
That would be my choice for Best Picture of the Year if it had ever been nominated for anything. But anyway, it's all just a little Ponzi scheme thought up by the Academy.
It's a popularity contest. In any event, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see new movies next week and move beyond the Oscars once we've watched them on Sunday. You can check me out on Twitter at Culture Blaster and on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page and access my conversations with Alex and other things.
Okay, and if everybody stays right where they are, there's more GABNet coming right up.